What is up everyone, my name is Stoody and I'd like to welcome you all back to another video, and today I'm going to be ranking every AFL team's trade period from 18th to 1st, 18th being the team who performed the worst and 1st being the team who performed the best. So I'm going to start from 18th and we're going to go all the way up and see who performed the best. So I've also given each team a grade from A to F, depending on how well I think they did. So let's just get into it. Now in 18th spot I have Hawthorn and I have given them the grade of F. The Hawks have had an awful trade period, have given up a lot and have received so little back. So let's just have a look and see what they received and what they've lost. They've received Carl Amon, pick 48, a future 4 from the Brisbane Lions, pick 41, pick 50, Cooper Stevens, Lloyd Meek and a future 2nd from the Dogs. And they have lost Jack Gunston, Tom Mitchell, Jager O'Meara and a future 4th. So as you can see, they've lost some good players but haven't really received any decent picks at all or any real decent players. Cooper Stevens would be pretty decent, I think, and Lloyd Meek might be alright, but other than that I just can't see anything that they've received matching what they gave up. You know, they gave up Jack Gunston for nothing. They gave up Tom Mitchell for nothing. They were scammed by Fremantle when they gave up O'Meara. Yeah, just a terrible trade period for the Hawks. Number 17, I have the Western Bulldogs. I have given them the grade of an F. The Western Bulldogs have had an absolute shocker as well. Let's have a look at what they did. Their ins: Liam Jones, a future 4th from Melbourne, pick 21, a future 1st from Brisbane, a future 2nd from Brisbane, a future 4th from the Cats, and Rory Lobb. The outs: Zane Cordy, Josh Shackey, Lockie Hunter, Josh Dunkley, future 3rd, the D's future 3rd, pick 30, and a future 2nd. So they lose one of the best players in the league, Josh Dunkley, and they do get some picks back, but they definitely do not match the worth of Josh Dunkley, that's for certain. They also get scammed by Melbourne. They trade away Lockie Hunter for nothing. They bring in 2 spuds in Jones and Lobb. And yeah, just an awful trade period from the Bulldogs. Has definitely hurt their premiership chances, that's for sure. Now moving on to number 16, and I have got the Gold Coast Suns. And I have also given them the F grade. Looking at what the Gold Coast Suns did right now, they have brought in Ben Long, a future 4 from St Kilda, Tom Berry, a future 2nd from the Giants, pick 5, a future 3rd from the Crom, a future 4th from the Crom, and a future 3rd from Geelong. They're out: pick 32, pick 25, pick 36, pick 56, Josh Corbett, Isaac Rankine, Jack Bowes, and pick 7. When it comes to the Tom Berry trade, I feel like they definitely won that, but other than that, they haven't really done much else. I feel like that Isaac Rankine trade, it was a reasonably fair trade, but Isaac Rankine, we know he's going to be a superstar, so it's disappointing for them to lose a superstar. And then we've got the Jack Bowes trade where they just give away pick 7 for free. They had to do that because they have been very poor in their management when it comes to the salary cap. Yeah, it's just a really messy trade period for the Suns. Imagine trading a player and pick 7 for a future 3rd. You can tell your club's done something horribly wrong when you have to do that just to dump salary. In 15th spot I have Essendon, and I have given them the D+ grade. For a team that went so poorly, they haven't really done much, plus losing a couple of trades that they did do certainly hurts. So here are their ins: Will Setterfield, pick 68, future 4 from the Swans, Sam Wiedemann, pick 54 and pick 72. They're outs: a future 4th, Aaron Francis, and pick 42. It's mainly the trade for Aaron Francis that they lost big time. They received pick 37, but they still give up pick 42 and Francis. That just makes no sense. They get Setterfield, who's a spud. They get Wiedemann, who might be okay for them, but it's definitely not going to help them rise up the ladder, that's for sure. I think they should naturally rise up the ladder because they have a lot of talent on their team, and they definitely underperformed last year, but they're definitely not going to do much better and probably won't make the 8. 14th on this list is going to make a lot of people cry, but I have Geelong, and I've given them the D+ grade. A lot of people think Geelong had a good trade period because of that Jack Bowes trade. Yes, they certainly won that trade. But other than that, they did pretty poorly. Their ins, Tanner Braun, Jack Bowes, pick 7, Ollie Henry. Their outs, pick 18, pick 38, pick 48, pick 55, a future second, a future fourth, a future third, and Cooper Stevens. Now, Tanner Bruin, they tried to pick 18 for him. He's simply not worth pick 18, so that's a bad trade. Jack Bowes is washed, so yeah, and he has a ridiculous salary, so yeah, they're going to get themselves in salary cap trouble. Pick 7, they get that for free. They'd be happy for that. But Ollie Henry is a massive spud. They trade Cooper Stevens and pick 25 for him, which is just ridiculous. And they're definitely going to regret that in the future. Number 13, I have St Kilda. Now, we're at the stage where usually the teams in the middle of these lists, for me, they don't really do much. So it's hard to position them. I've given them the C- grade because, you know, for a team that missed finals and a team that doesn't have a very good list, they didn't really do anything. And they're probably going to be, you know, reasonably low on the ladder next year because of that. So they're in Zane Cordy, pick 32, they're outs, Ben Long, future fourth. Zane Cordy isn't amazing. Getting pick 32 isn't too bad. They were able to get rid of Long though, which is alright. But they haven't really done much, so there's not really much else to talk about. In 12th spot, I have the West Coast Eagles. Now, I've given them the C- grade. So having a look at what they did, their ins, Jaden Hunt, pick 5, a future second from Port, a future third from Port, and pick 12, their outs, Willie Rioli, pick 2, and pick 40. Now, I put them above St Kilda because they did scam Port Adelaide big time in the Willie Rioli deal. They're getting pick 8, a future second and a future third for him. He certainly is not worth that. Willie Rioli is probably worth a pick around 30 to 35 at best. But they got like 2 picks that are better than that. It's pretty funny, but they traded pick 2 for like nothing, which was incredibly stupid. They got pick 12 for pick 2 and 40, which is like one of the worst trades I've ever seen. So that definitely put them lower on this list. Number 11 on this list, I have Carlton. I have given them the C grade. They haven't really done a whole lot, but I don't feel like they really need to. So we'll just have a look at what they have done. Their ins, Blake Acres, pick 49 and a future fourth from Essendon. Their outs, Will Setterfield and pick 68. Will Setterfield's not really that good, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. They bring in Acres, which I guess he's an average player. Adds to their depth, they didn't really give up much for Acres, so it's all good. And I think Carlton naturally should make finals next year. They have a really good team. They didn't really need to do a whole lot. Yeah, there's not really much else to say about the Blues. In the number 10 spot, I have the Sydney Swans, and I have given them the C grade. Swans obviously are the runners-up this year. They got smashed against Geelong in the grand final, so they didn't really do a whole lot this trade period, but they do get Aaron Francis and pick 42, and they're out pick 37 and the future fourth. I'm pretty sure they only did one trade, and that's what their trade was. So yeah, and they get Francis and pick 42, and they only really trade pick 37. So that's definitely a win for them, but that's all they did. So I can just give them a C for that. That's all I can really do and say about the Swans. Number 9, I have Port Adelaide. Some people probably think they should be higher, but they got schemed in the Willie Rioli trade, so I couldn't put them higher. I've given them a C+ grade. Now we'll go have a look and see what they did. Their ins, pick 33, Jason Horne-Francis, Willie Rioli, and a future second from Melbourne. Their outs, Carl Amon, a future first, pick 8, future second, a future third, and pick 57. They got Jason Horne-Francis pretty cheap, I thought, considering his potential, but it could definitely go wrong that trade as well, because he just has a terrible attitude, Horne-Francis. They get schemed for Willie Rioli. They give up pick 8 and a future second, I believe, for him, which is just not good at all. Yeah, I mean, they get a couple of players that should help them get back in the 8, but yeah, I just I just feel like that Willie Rioli trade is going to haunt them. Yeah, I feel like they're only in the middle of the table when it comes to the trade period. I don't think they're near the top like everyone else thinks. In 8th spot, I've got Collingwood. I've given them the C+ grade as well. And the only reason why they're above Port Adelaide is I feel like they did get schemed in a trade, but they actually schemed two other teams in trades, whereas Port didn't full on scheme as much, but they did get schemed pretty badly themselves. So with Collingwood in 8th, we'll have a look at what they did. So their ins, Ian Hill, pick 40, Dan McStay, pick 27, Billy Frampton, Tom Mitchell, and pick 25. The outs, pick 43, future second, Brody Grundy, future third, Ollie Henry, pick 41, and pick 50. So the main reason why I've got them pretty high, they'd definitely be near the bottom if it wasn't for their Tom Mitchell trade, where they get Tom Mitchell and pick 25, and they get rid of a spud in Ollie Henry, and they get rid of pick 41 and 50, which isn't really worth a whole lot. So they get Tom Mitchell and pick 25 for not much at all. But they did get scammed big time in the Brody Grundy trade. Brody Grundy, he's a superstar ruckman, one of the best ruckmen in the league, and they cough him up for just pick 27. That's just terrible. An awful trade there. They get Hill, which should help them, and Frampton, he would just be a fringe player, really. You know, he certainly would not replace Grundy. So, yeah, middle of the table, you know, decent trade period for them, but not as good as what a lot of people seem to think. All right, number 7 on this list is going to make people cry again. But I've got North Melbourne, and I've given them the B- grade, because people think, oh, they've lost their number 1 pick, and they think that's a super terrible thing. But that's the only real thing that went wrong for them, as they definitely did okay, like for the most part, in this trade period. They're a rebuilding side, and they don't want toxic guys like Horn Francis on their team. So their ins, Griffin Logue, Darcy Tucker, a future third from Fremantle, pick 3, pick 43, a future first from Port Adelaide, pick 2 and pick 40. Their outs, a future second, future third, future fourth, pick 1, Jason Horn Francis, and a future third. The reason why there's 2 future thirds is because they got gifted a third rounder. I think it was a future third rounder, yeah, and they were forced to trade it. And I still think they have their future second, but they got gifted a future second as well that they were forced to trade. So they get Logue, who I don't rate that highly, but he's still reasonably young, so who knows. Tucker, I guess, is an average player. I guess bring him in just to try and make North a bit more competitive. They do have Alistair Clarkson now, which will help them. They get rid of pick 1, but they do get pick 3 and 2, which I think is probably better than having pick 1, because they get 2 cracks at some of the best players in the draft class. So if one turns out to be a spud and another is a superstar, then that's good, rather than having pick 1 and they turn out to be a spud. They got rid of Horn Francis, which is their pick 1 from last year. They only get really Port's future first round selection for him, which will probably be in the teens maybe, or maybe 10 to 12, something like that. I don't feel like Horn Francis is going to live up to the hype of number 1 pick. I still think he's going to be a good player, but I don't think he'll be like number 1 material, so that might not be a bad thing for North. So that's why I had them pretty high on my list, and people think they had a shocker, but I think they did okay. And number 6, you know, everyone's going to cry about this as well, but I've got the GWS Giants, and I've given them the B grade. So even though I do think Giants will win the wooden spoon next year after this trade period, but they have set themselves up to have a decent future. A lot of players wanted to leave, which isn't good, but they've been able to trade well. When it comes to, you know, trading certain players, so we'll just have a look at them. The ins, pick 43, pick 12. Pretty sure it's like the third time I said pick 43. Yeah, there's certain picks that get traded like 4 or 5 different teams in every trade period, and it's hard to keep up with who originally had that pick and who ends up with the pick. So yeah, if you hear a certain pick being read out a million times. I tried my best to only have it in the outs for the team that originally had it, and only have it in the ins for the team that has ended up with it. But yeah, I just could be bothered full on making sure. But pick 43, pick 12, pick 19, pick 15, pick 12, they got rid of that as well. Shit. Because that's West Coast, so that can be in the category. Pick 18, Joey Bedford, pick 1, pick 57, pick 31, a future first from Richmond. The outs, pick 12, even though it's not written down on here, it should be though. Well, that's originally Richmond's pick, never mind. Bobby Hill, pick 12, pick 40, I mean. Tim Taranto, pick 21, a future second. Tanner Bruin, pick 44, pick 3. Jacob Hopper, pick 63. That seems like a lot when it comes to the outs, but they've got a lot of early draft picks. They've got like 5 first rounders. They get a future first rounder from Richmond as well. They do lose Hopper and Taranto that are pretty good. Bruin and Hill, I guess, are okay players, but they got good deals for all those players, I feel. And they have the first pick in the draft, the second pick technically, because Bruin had been gifted the first pick because of Ashcroft. But yeah, I think they'll be okay for the future. They'll be bad next year, but in 3-4 years time, surely at least one of those picks will be somewhat decent. Number 5 on this list, I have the Adelaide Crows. Even though they didn't do a heap of trades, they would be very happy. I've given them a B+ grade. So looking at what they did, their ins, Isaac Rankine, pick 46, a future 4th to Freo and a future 3rd from the Pies. And their outs, Billy Frampton, pick 5 and their future 3rd and 4th round picks. So they get a superstar cover player in Rankine. They do have to trade their pick 5, but it's all good. It's definitely worth it. And they only get rid of Frampton, who's not really that good anyway. Yeah, so pretty good trade period for them, even though it's not a huge amount of trade they did. They'd be very happy. Number 4, I have the Fremantle Dockers, and I have given them the A- grade. Fremantle were involved in a lot of trades. The reason why they're not right up the top is because they did lose some depth. So I'll just have a quick look at them. Their ins, a future 3rd from Carlton, future 2nd. Wait, what? Oh, it's a future 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from North. Josh Corbett, Luke Jackson, pick 44, pick 67, pick 30, Jago O'Meara, and a future 4th from Hawthorn. Their outs, Blake Akers, Griffin Logue, Darcy Tucker, future 3rd from, their future 3rd. A future 4th, pick 13, future 1st, future 2nd, Rory Lobb, Lloyd Meek. They have like no draft picks next year. Jesus Christ. Well, at least no draft picks of their own. They have a lot of draft picks from other teams though. So Freeman will get 2 really good players in Jackson and O'Meara, which should really elevate them to premiership contention, that's for sure. They did have to give up a lot of picks to get those players, but it's definitely worth it for them. And really they didn't give up a whole lot for O'Meara, so they definitely schemed Hawthorn on that one. They lose some depth, so if they get injuries that could be a problem, but their best 22 is going to be very difficult to beat. So I think they'll make the top 4 next year based off of their performance in this trade period. In 3rd spot on this list, I have Richmond, and I've given them the A grade. Now they only made 2 trades, but they definitely filled a massive hole in their team, which is the midfield. So they received Tim Taranto, Jacob Hopper, pick 53 and pick 63, which is literally their only 2 picks in this draft. Their outs, pick 12, pick 19, a future first, and pick 31. So they basically trade all their firsts and this year's all the seconds. But I think it's worth it because Tim Taranto is a star caliber player, and Jacob Hopper, he does fill a need for Richmond. And who knows if he can, play better. Although I do think we paid overs for Hopper. Maybe this trade could get us another premiership, and even if it does stuff us up in the future, but if we get another premiership out of it, which we might not have ended up getting, if we didn't make this trade, then it's definitely worth it. You know, premierships are always worth it. Second on this list, I have the Brisbane Lions, and I have given them the A grade as well. Looking at what they have done, their ins, they've made a lot of trades. They've made more trades than anyone else. These are going to be long, so bear with me. Pick 35, pick 21. I'm pretty sure that pick's been used a million times in this video. Pick 36, pick 56, pick 38. Pick 55, a future second from Geelong, Jack Gunston, Josh Dunkley, a future third from the Bulldogs, and a future fourth from the D's. Their outs, Dan McStay, pick 15, Tom Berry, pick 46, a future fourth, pick 21, a future first, future second, and a future fourth that was tied to Geelong. Now, they definitely won a lot of trades. They scammed the Hawks for Gunston. They also got Dunkley. They had to trade a lot of picks, but it's worth it when you're bringing in one of the better players in the league. I definitely think they lost the Tom Berry trade, but it's all good. Brisbane definitely are massive premiership contenders for next year. With what they've brought in, I wonder what their salary cap's looking like. They definitely would have to have extra salary cap if they're bringing in all these players, but yeah, who knows. And the team that has had the best trade period for this year is Melbourne, and I have given them the A+ grade. Now, before the trade period, I was gonna say I was predicting the Western Bulldogs to win the flag, but now I'm definitely predicting Melbourne to win the flag after this. So we'll have a look at them. The ins: pick 52, pick 13, a future first from Freo, future second from Freo, Brody Grundy, pick 37, Josh Shackey, and Lockie Hunter. Their outs: Jaden Hunt, pick 33, pick 53, Terry Bedford, Luke Jackson, pick 67, Sam Wiedemann, pick 54, pick 72, a future fourth, and their future third. Now, I guess they lose Luke Jackson, but they get some picks in return, so they weren't full-on schemed there. Terry Bedford, Hunt, and Wiedemann isn't a huge deal for them, I don't think. Especially since they schemed Collingwood for Brody Grundy, who's one of the better ruckmen in the league and will be a very dangerous duo with him and Gawn. I don't know who the hell is going to stop those two. Maybe Fremantle can, but that's basically it. And Lockie Hunter, they got him for nothing as well. They scammed the Western Bulldogs for him. So it's just a fantastic trade period for Melbourne, and you know, I think they can win the premiership again after this used trade period. So yeah, that's it for this video. Pretty sure I've covered everything here. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Be sure to leave a big thumbs up on this video and leave a like on this video. I have Instagram and Twitter as well. They are called StoodyYT. So please be sure to follow them. Links to those two will be in the description. I also have a Discord server. It is called Australian Sports Community. Link to that will be in the description. I hope you've had a good day, and I'll see you all in the next video.